Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I'm Rick Wojcik, the MLA from the Swan River constituency, and I'm pleased to be here today with the Honourable Jeff Wharton, Minister of Environment, Climate and Parks, and Cam Blight, President for the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, and David Hinton from Manitoba Nursery Landscape Association for this important announcement. I'd like to acknowledge we're gathered on ancestral lands, Treaty 1 territory, traditional territory of the Anishinaabe Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the homeland of the Red River Métis Nation. I'd like to invite Minister Wharton to the podium.
Thank you, Rick. Great to be here today. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Wharton, Minister of Environment, Climate and Parks, and again, great to be here today, again joined by Cam Blight, President of the Association of Manitoba Municipalities. Also, Denny Volkov is here as well, the Executive Director of AMM. David Hinton, Manitoba Nursery Landscape Association, and Ryan Kindred as well of the Manitoba Nursery Landscape Association for all joining us here today for this very exciting announcement. Today our government introduced amendments to the Environmental Act and non-essential pesticide use regulation to enable the use of federally approved cosmetic pesticides and to expand the list of sensitive areas that will be protected from the application of cosmetic pesticides. In 2014, the Environment Act and non-essential pesticides use regulation was introduced to restrict the sale and application of prescribed pesticides for lawn care purposes. Stakeholders and members of the public raised several concerns regarding the original legislation, including increased cost, increased usage of pesticides due to the lack of effectiveness of current products on the market. To better understand Manitoba's experience with the existing restrictions on cosmetic pesticides, our government launched a public consultation to gather feedback. Over 60% of respondents indicated the restrictions on the sale and usage of pesticides for cosmetic use were too strict, and over 70% wanted to see the current restrictions reduced or rescinded. Other jurisdictions like Alberta and Saskatchewan do not have any restrictions on cosmetic pesticides and instead rely on Health Canada's classifications. The proposed legislation changes would enable individuals and companies to apply federally approved products in low-risk areas. This would improve the flexibility and accessibility for households and communities and allow for increased usable green spaces. Working in collaboration with municipalities and communities, our government also recognized the need for a balanced approach between cosmetic pesticide application and protecting sensitive areas for children and pets while minimizing overall environmental impacts. These amendments would also include expanding the list of sensitive areas that would be protected from the application of cosmetic pesticides. This would include schools, hospitals, child care centres, provincial parks, designated municipal picnic areas, playgrounds, and dog parks. In response to the feedback we've heard from Manitobans, we believe that these amendments would allow for flexibility of options of cosmetic pesticide applications on lawns, while also balancing the protection of sensitive areas in our communities. We look forward to working with municipalities and Manitobans across the province to build a continual cooperative approaches to best create improvements in our communities. Thank you. Appreciate it. Merci. Rick? Masks.
Thank you, Minister Wharton. And I'd like to call on Cam Blight to say a few words on behalf of the Association of Manitoba Municipalities.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, MLA Rick Wojcik. My name is Cam Blight, and I am the President of the Association of Manitoba Municipalities and the Reeve of the Arm of Portage Prairie. Our organization is independent and nonpartisan, and our mission is to identify and address the needs and concerns of our members in order to achieve strong and effective municipal government. Our membership consists of all of Manitoba's 137 incorporated municipalities, including the City of Winnipeg. As the spring season quickly approaches, I would like to thank Minister Wharton for this positive announcement today. Since 2014, the AMM has called on the province of Manitoba to reverse the ban on federally approved weed control products. We have been calling for this change since changes to the non-essential pesticide ban use regulation increased costs tenfold for municipalities that were forced to use alternative products which proved ineffective. Meanwhile, municipalities are experiencing significant financial pressures due to the pandemic. The changes announced today will help provide relief. Thus, we support the provincial government's decision to align with federal regulations and rigorous Health Canada review processes. Aligning with federal regulations will allow municipalities to effectively manage weed control programs while mitigating financial pressures on municipal budgets. We also look forward to working with the provincial government to help communicate and inform our members of these changes. In closing, I would like to once again thank Minister Wharton for this timely announcement. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'll pass it back to Rick. Thank you.
Thank you, Cam. Now I'd like to call on David Hinton to say a few words on behalf of the Manitoba Nursery Landscape Association.
Put on my goggles here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is David Hinton, and I'm with the Manitoba Nursery Landscape Association. The association represents the horticulture profession in Manitoba. Our members grow, install, and maintain the green infrastructure in the province. We are pleased that the government has decided to clarify and update the regulations with respect to the products that are used to protect the health of Manitoba's landscapes. The current legislation is arbitrary, confusing, and not well understood. It is also unenforceable, and compliance with current rules is very low. Changes have been needed for some time to create better regulations that will work for all Manitobans. We believe the province's decision to rely on Health Canada Pest Management Regulatory Agency for science-based regulation will protect the health of Manitoba citizens and their landscapes. Health Canada is one of the toughest regulatory systems in the world, and we are pleased that the province is recognizing the work done by this agency. Our green spaces contribute so much to our quality of life and produce enormous environmental benefits, but are continually being threatened by extreme climate conditions and invasive species such as the emerald ash borer. It is essential as Manitobans we have choices when selecting the best products available to protect these valuable landscapes. Changes are long overdue. The new regulations will encourage innovation and allow more options when deciding how to deal with pests that threaten our landscapes. Spring is just around the corner, and I can't wait to see the trees leafing out and some green grass. Thanks very much.
Yes, that's definitely echoed. Thank you, David. This concludes the formal portion of the announcement. If the media has any questions for the Minister, Cam Blight, or David Hinton, they would be happy to answer them at this time.
What areas, given that there are some changes, there are new areas that are going to be protected, but other areas that where restrictions are going to be lifted, what kind of areas in the municipality are we talking about where pesticides can now be applied? If it's not parks, are we talking about roadways and that sort of thing?
Absolutely, yes. So it'll be roadways, boulevards, etc., as well as in some cases football fields, etc., as long as they're not attached to a park or a school per se. So this is excellent news for municipalities across the province.
And how much has it been costing your municipality?
Well, as was stated, it's about tenfold because we're out there applying with more expensive chemicals and doing repetitious applications that are not becoming effective, and it costs money to apply these chemicals, not just the chemical itself, but it's the manpower as well as the usage of equipment and the burning of gas, etc. So it was a redundant effort, and this is welcome news for municipalities.
And proponents of the restrictions that we have in place until now might argue, well, it's just dandelions. Is it more than just sort of a cosmetic appearance?
Well, absolutely. It's more than just dandelions. There's more weeds than just dandelions that are growing in boulevards and different right-of-ways, et cetera, that are very harmful, not just to the environment, to your breathing, but also to the ag community, et cetera, around in the area. But, you know, as the provincial government has stated, they're going forward with Health Canada approved pesticides, which are safe for all. So we're very excited about this announcement. Well, we can't say what it's going to save us as of today because the pricing structure has changed since back when we first had to stop and change over. But we were seeing a lot of municipalities reporting that it was costing them 10 times what it did prior to this ban coming into place.
So we don't know yet what the difference might be now. Like if this legislation goes through, what the difference would be, we don't know yet.
Not 100%, but we do know that there's going to be substantial savings for municipalities, absolutely.
What did you hear over the years from residential landowners in your RM and others?
Residential landowners that we have spoken with and that we have heard from that our municipalities are reporting back on will certainly be welcoming this change. They wanted to see this reversed. So this is welcome news in a lot of areas, especially as in Manitoba, where, you know, the communities that I'm from in particular is an agriculturally driven community. This is huge news for them, for the agricultural producers.
Visually seeing it daily out there, homeowners applying products were not allowed. There's many different companies out there. We could tell we're not applying the correct products. So yeah, it was rampant out there. Very impossible, or next to impossible to enforce as well. So very unlevel playing field. The law-abiding lawn care companies were at a huge disadvantage because we were spending 10 times the cost on weed control products as some of our competitors who were cheating. So.
I imagine some people were applying suspiciously large amounts of the pesticides for their food.
Yeah, that was the thing, that the current legislation is being enforced by the part-time student at the big box store. He's asking the question, is this for your garden? Yes, it is. Okay, here you go, right? So just very poor legislation, and this is going to straighten that all out. We should have always been looking at Health Canada for these rules. They are the true experts in regulating these products, whether it's for your swimming pool, your hot tub, your garden, your lawn, wherever these types of products are being used. You know, that's the go-to place. So. Thank you. Thank you very much.